In the sprawl of the internet's endless multiplex, Kath Ebbs breaks her silence to reveal's recent distressing news.
Hello, internet. I don't even know where to begin. I'm filming this in a complete state of shock, which I know is probably distressing and is probably giving go have a sleep. But I honestly feel so numbed out right now, and so disorientated that I feel like the only thing I have to do to place this situation is to finally address it after 2 weeks of sitting back, watching certain things unfold, and not being able to get any clarity from the person that it involved, who was what I thought one of the great loves of my life, and not of my own volition either, from what I was told over and over and again. But to just state facts and I guess to address this slowly, and finally, I guess, say something. It has come to my attention in the past 8 hours that everything we sort of saw unfold on what I thought was a fake reality show where I didn't need to worry about the validity of my relationship was in fact laced in a lot of truth, which has been so probably one of the most craziest, intense, awful, horrific experiences I've ever probably gone through in my adult life. To just give you my story, my comment, yes, I was watching the same show as you all. I could not talk to my partner at the time, and it was very unsettling and very hurtful, and I did feel betrayed by the things that I saw conspire. I got offline because I couldn't talk to the person that it involved, my partner, and I also, given all the context and facts that I had, by virtue of the relationship we had before they went into a social experiment, the messages I received before, the messages I received throughout. I don't know if anyone, as was mentioned on the show, I was receiving video messages every day in admiration of me and our love and our relationship, which indicated a sense of solidness and trust that I chose to believe and get clarity around. And I honestly thought I would come on here right now with my partner being like, it was just a TV show and it was all fabricated and we're happy as Larry. But the truth of the matter is I decided to show up for my partner and hold up my end of the bargain of being in a partnership and being a teammate. And I flew across the world to support and be there and hold that person in whatever they would be experiencing, leaving such a wild experience. And instead, I was dumped at the after party with Chris in the next room, which is crazy to say out loud. It's truly crazy. Like, there's a lot of processing that needs to happen, which maybe I should be doing before getting online. But honestly, I've been quiet on here for 2 weeks and I felt like I've sat in this. And I think now I'm at the point of, I guess, some level of clarity that I and I guess we, people viewing, weren't crazy to what they were seeing. And that a lot of the things that were depicted were rooted in truth. And I have become collateral in that truth. I will take accountability for the fact that the internet, oddly enough, did warn me and I had my own instincts, but I chose to believe in what I thought was, I don't know, the kindness and the connection I experienced on my own level, like in my own life. And I, wanted to honor that and believe that because it felt so true. So true. I guess, like, in an odd way, like, I don't know if you can, I haven't processed it enough to, if you'd want to call it love bombing or whatever, but it seems to me I have experienced a version of that. Being told that I'm the love of someone's life, being asked to marry them before this social experiment, being adored throughout behind closed doors, being hurt by what I saw but wanting to work through it and have a conversation and get clarity and, to be met with, being I guess further humiliated in a weird way. That's more of a feeling. I don't know if it's fact, but I feel further humiliated in the fact that in that believing of someone's words and actions was actually left a bit high and dry. The story goes, in the last 8 hours or whatever, I flew here and I went to the live show to show up for my partner and support them in their experience, and then obviously later on address my feelings of like hurt and like work through them like all relationships do. But before I could even get back to the hotel, it's actually crazy, went to the after party with my, I guess now ex, crazy thing to say, and was dumped in the party. I was told that there are confused feelings there, do with that what you will, and that they had realized in the house that I wasn't the person that they wanted to spend the foreseeable future with, which has honestly been, as you can probably tell by my demeanor, so shocking that I feel kind of subhuman right now. Yeah, and I feel incredibly humiliated and I feel a bit embarrassed. I feel like the internet might have warned me a little bit, and I guess didn't listen, but I also just followed my heart, and I love really big and I love really intensely, and I believed promises and I believed gestures and words and acts of intense intimacy.
The screen hums to life, and there's Kath Ebbs, framed in the intimate glow of a smartphone camera, their voice trembling with the rawness of someone who's just stumbled out of a plot twist they didn't see coming. They're not here to deliver a polished TED Talk or a scripted tell-all. No, this is a stream of consciousness confessional, a 13-minute odyssey through shock, betrayal, and the kind of heartbreak that feels like a rug pulled out from under a life. Kath's recounting the end of their relationship with Jojo Siwa, the dance mom's alum-turned-pop star whose larger-than-life persona, think sequins, rainbows, and a ponytail that defies gravity, made their romance a beacon of queer joy in the digital age. But at the Celebrity Big Brother UK afterparty, that beacon flickered out, extinguished by Jojo's abrupt decision to end things, leaving Kath reeling in a room where Chris Hughes, Jojo's rumored new flame, loomed like a shadow in the next frame. It's a moment that's both devastating and absurd, a breakup scene staged in the garish spotlight of reality TV's aftermath. And Kath's video is the raw footage, unedited and unsparing. Let's rewind and set the scene. Kath and Jojo's relationship, which went Instagram official in January 2025, was a whirlwind of public adoration and private promises, a love story that felt like a montage from a feel-good rom-com, complete with red carpet appearances and whispered vows of forever. Kath, a 27-year-old non-binary actor who made history as Neighbours' first non-binary character, brought a quiet authenticity to the pairing, their grounded presence a counterpoint to Jojo's technicolor exuberance. Together, they were a symbol of progress, a queer couple navigating fame with the kind of openness that inspires hashtags and fan art. But Celebrity Big Brother UK, that great equalizer of egos, where alliances are forged and boundaries blur, changed the script. Jojo's close bond with fellow contestant Chris Hughes, a Love Island alum with a knack for stealing scenes, sparked rumors of emotional cheating, and Kath, watching from afar, felt the ground shift beneath them. Their video, now deleted but etched into the internet's collective memory, is a reckoning with that shift, a narrative that feels like a Coen brothers tragedy, where the hero's trust is their fatal flaw, and the villain is the truth they refuse to see. The comedy of Kath's confessional lies in its rawness, the way they grapple with the absurdity of their situation with a candor that's both heartbreaking and hilarious. They're filming in a state of complete shock, their words tumbling out like a stand-up comic riffing through a nervous breakdown, and it's impossible not to laugh, even as you wince. The image of Kath flying across the world, 8 hours on a plane, fueled by loyalty and love, only to be dumped at the afterparty with Chris Hughes in the next room, is peak reality TV absurdity, a plot twist so wild it could headline a Netflix docuseries. Kath's self-aware humor, their admission that the internet might have warned me a little bit, lands like a perfectly timed punchline, a nod to the collective wisdom of Stan Twitter and Reddit threads that saw the cracks before they did. It's a universal impulse, the kind that fuels group chats and late-night scrolls, and Kath's video is the stage, a digital confessional where the audience is both witness and mourner. But beneath the laughs, there's a deeper current, a reflection on the fragility of love in the public eye and the brutal machinery of reality TV. Kath's story isn't just about a breakup, it's about betrayal, the kind that stings deeper when it's broadcast to millions. Jojo's behavior on Celebrity Big Brother, the cuddling, the hand-holding, the hot tub whispers with Chris, crossed boundaries that Kath, watching from Australia, couldn't unsee. They describe feeling betrayed by what they witnessed, a sentiment that resonates like a minor chord in a breakup ballad. Yet, Kath clung to hope, bolstered by Jojo's daily video messages, promises of love and solidity that felt like anchors in a storm. Those promises, they now realize, were part of a love-bombing campaign, a term they use with the hesitation of someone still piecing together the script. It's a narrative that feels like a psychological thriller, where the hero's trust is weaponized against them. And the twist is the realization that the love they believed in was a performance. The narrative takes a reflective turn as Kath grapples with the public nature of their humiliation, a moment that feels like a montage in a coming-of-age flick, where the protagonist looks back on the choices that led them here. They flew to London to support Jojo, to hold up my end of the bargain of being in a partnership, only to be met with a breakup that felt like a slap in the face, delivered in the chaotic glow of a reality TV after-party. The image of Chris Hughes lingering nearby, a specter of Jojo's confused feelings, adds a layer of absurdity to the pain, like a villain twirling a mustache in a melodrama. Kath's admission that they feel subhuman and humiliated is raw, unfiltered, a cry from someone who loved really big and intensely and paid the price for it. It's a universal story, the kind that resonates with anyone who's ever believed in a promise only to find it was written in sand. And Kath's video is the canvas, a digital diary where the ink is still wet. The comedy deepens as Kath reflects on the internet's role in their saga, a subplot that feels like a Wes Anderson riff on collective wisdom and digital voyeurism. They acknowledge the fans who weren't crazy for seeing the truth in Jojo's on-screen behavior, a nod to the sleuthing culture of stan accounts and TikTok detectives who parsed every glance and gesture. It's hilarious, in a bleak sort of way, that Kath's heartbreak was foreshadowed by strangers online, their warnings drowned out by the roar of Jojo's assurances. Kath's self-deprecating humor, their admission that they didn't listen to the internet's red flags, is both funny and poignant, a reminder that love can blind even the savviest among us. But there's a shadow beneath the joke, a question about what it means to love in an age where every moment is dissected, every betrayal amplified by a million likes and retweets. The metaphor of the multiplex comes into sharp focus as Kath's video unfolds, each segment a different screen in the internet's crowded theater. Their heartbreak is the raw drama in Theater 1, all tears and truth, while Jojo's Celebrity Big Brother antics are the reality TV spectacle in Theater 2, a circus of alliances and betrayals. The internet's warnings are the mystery thriller in Theater 3, a whodunit solved by faceless detectives. And the broader narrative, the collision of love, fame, and public scrutiny, is the epic in Theater 4, a sprawling saga that's equal parts inspiring and unsettling. Kath's video is the projectionist, stitching these stories together, inviting us to laugh, to cry, to marvel at the strange machinery of digital romance. The narrative takes a speculative turn as Kath grapples with the concept of love bombing, a term they wield like a detective uncovering a motive. They describe Jojo's pre-show promises, declarations of love, proposals of marriage, as a campaign of adoration that felt so true in the moment but now rings hollow. It's a moment that feels like a flashback in a noir thriller, where the hero replays the clues they missed, each one sharper in hindsight. Kath's hesitation to fully label it love bombing is telling, a nod to the complexity of untangling truth from performance in a relationship shaped by fame. They're not accusing Jojo of malice. They're mourning the gap between what was promised and what was delivered, a gap wide enough to swallow a heart whole. It's a universal story, the kind that resonates with anyone who's ever been swept up in a love that felt too good to last. And Kath's video is the stage, a digital pulpit where the sermon is still being written. The tragedy of this story, if you can call it that, isn't in Kath's breakup or Jojo's choices. It's in the broader cultural fault lines they expose. Love in the public eye is a tightrope, a performance where every misstep is magnified, every betrayal a headline. Kath's video is a case study in that pressure, a reminder that even the most authentic relationships can crack under the weight of fame's spotlight. Jojo's bond with Chris Hughes, whether platonic or romantic, became a public spectacle, fodder for fans and critics who saw in it the seeds of betrayal. Kath, caught in the crossfire, became collateral in that truth, a phrase that lands like a gut punch, a nod to the human cost of reality TV's manufactured drama. Destiny's reflections, if they were to weigh in, would likely echo this tragedy, framing Kath's story as a cautionary tale about the risks of loving someone whose life is a stage. So here's to Kath Ebbs, the projectionist of their own heartbreak, still spinning reels even as the audience gasps. Here's to Jojo Siwa, the star whose choices lit the fuse. Here's to the internet, a chorus of prophets and gossips who saw the end before it came. And here's to the hope, flickering in the dark, that in this chaotic theater of likes and heartbreak, there's still room for stories that heal, for voices that endure, for a world where the credits roll.